there's going to be more marketplace activity. So you're going to have a marketplace strategy. What are you going to do on Amazon, eBay, Zalando, etc.? But also the walled gardens that are going to start coming with social commerce. So there's going to be lots of little nuggets of places everywhere where you won't own the customer data.
On this CheckoutScout Tent, we're joined by David Williams, an e-commerce expert, who's going to answer a few of our questions today. So David, perhaps you could start by introducing yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Martin. So I'm David Williams. I'm an experienced e-commerce and digital leader who's been working in e-commerce for over 20 years, running e-commerce for businesses such as BCA, which was a book club business, Charles Tyrwhitt, Bowes & Wilkins, and probably most of the last decade I was at Decker's Brands, which is a US company well known for the UGG brand. I launched that in Europe and launched and ran the European business, did a lot of work around omnichannel transformation, did a Japanese business transformation and ran retail as well for a little bit of time there. I left there about a year and a half ago, and I've been consulting since then and doing interim work for companies like New Look, Halls & Curtis, Aspinall of London, and working with companies like eConsultancy as well.
What do you think of the key challenges facing e-commerce business providers at the moment?
I think one of the toughest things is trying to understand the shifts in consumer behaviour that are going to happen this year. You know, what are the short-term effects that they're going to return versus the long-term changes that we're going to see? Is there how much of a shift from offline that's gone to online is going to go back to offline versus stay online? I think also as stores open, if you have an omnichannel business, how do you structure that and grow that business is going to be a real challenge. Another area that's going to be a bit of a struggle is those who did really well last year online. How are you going to keep those customers to keep buying from you this year? And those that didn't do well online, because there were some that didn't do well online, fashion retail, still outside of the pure plays, had a tough time. How do you re-engage those customers with something exciting and get new customers on board? Other challenges I think we're going to see, disparity of channels. I think we've seen during the pandemic, got accelerated during the pandemic, is that there's going to be more marketplace activity. So you're going to have a marketplace strategy. What are you going to do on Amazon, eBay, Zalando, etc.? But also the walled gardens that are going to start coming with social commerce. So there's going to be lots of little nuggets of places everywhere where you won't own the customer data.
Well, that's certainly a good menu of challenges. I'm not sure we can cover all of them, but I'd love to get your idea of some of the solutions and some of the answers to this.
I think it's ultimately having strategies on the above. To be honest, where it affects your business. If you're a good example is if you did a company that did well last year. Of getting new customers in, how have you got a CDP in place to really leverage to re-engage those customers? Do you understand enough about those customers to then contact them through personalization, etc.? I think that's a big thing. Also, I think one thing that businesses spend a lot of time looking at, as we talked about offline to online and more traffic online, is your value proposition really up to scratch? Do people come to your website? Do they really know what they want to get out of you? Because it's not going to be price anymore. Because last year, a lot of D2C brands came online, and I think it's becoming a really, there's a lot more choice for consumers to buy direct now. So you need to stand out. And then the final thing I think everyone's got to look at is, as I said, some of the changes that happened last year. How committed are you to true digital transformation? So say a visual merchandiser in store who ended up helping out online to visualize some of your content. How can do you want to keep some of that going? Where you had some retailers, bringing their store staff on to help customer service or do video consultations. That's a good thing. We want to keep some of that going.
So you're talking about tying together the in-store experience with the online experience, like personal touch device.
Absolutely. A lot of companies did that using Zoom and things, and were very agile in the way they did it. But I think there are technologies out there. I can probably mention one in a minute for you. That's I think Go in Store is a good example where they've already been mirroring that and pulling it offline into online.
You mentioned one provider there. What other companies and service providers and vendors have you seen that have got some of the solutions for these challenges?
Well, first of all, if you talk about the ones that I think was really interesting last year, maybe from a personal point of view, being more involved in looking at it, is Shopify has been really interesting how they've stolen the zeitgeist of it. help all these new D2C brands go online, build a marketplace, align with younger, relationships with TikTok. That you really interesting what they're doing in their own little ecosystem. I think, internationally, I talk a lot with Globally and eShop World. They were ahead of the game in helping cross-border shipping. So if you're looking at international, those guys, along with Avalara, are worth looking at. From looking at the third-party data issue, I think Conversant are quite ahead of the curve in how they're looking at that from their own data pool and how they can serve media. I think that's they're a really interesting solution. And then I guess looking at it from a merchandising point of view, they are a big boy, but I think Bloomreach are way ahead of the curve from marrying merchandising, online merchandising, automated merchandising with personalization.
So coming towards the end of a very quick chat, if you had to pick one tip or one runaway success for 2021 in the space, who do you think is going to be kind of really coming to the front of the pack?
I know them quite well, and I go back to the third-party data thing is a huge thing there, and I think Personify XP are really good in what they do. Is they're looking at that anonymized consumer data to give anonymized experiences on websites. It's kind of a link in between third party and first party. I just think they've got something there that is a little bit unique.
And maybe just a couple of more sort of lighter hearted ones. You're obviously a very experienced e-commerce consultant, but if money was no object, you had all the investment you needed, all the product people and marketing people, what e-commerce business would you start tomorrow?
Just purely from selfish reasons, as long as they didn't have to make loads of money. I live in near the South Downs. Well, I live in Surrey Hills near the South Downs. Lots of lovely vineyards around here. I thought a nice local vineyard subscription service, a bit like the gin clubs you get. Just doing that, I could be at home. I can go and visit lots of nice vineyards and drink lots of nice English sparkling wine.
Right, and have it on subscription delivered to your door.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? I mean,
a little bit of AI. The dishwasher's full of wine glasses. Send him another bottle. That'd be brilliant. And when the lockdown sort of comes to an end, which it is this spring, summer, what's the first kind of bricks and mortar experience that you're going to be going for, David?
I'm going to be going to a record shop, so I love vinyl. But there's nothing, if you own a record player and you love vinyl, there's nothing better than flicking through a bunch of records and randomly picking something. There's no fun in doing that online. And then going to a pub for a pint afterwards would be what I want to do. And then look at my vinyl whilst I'm drinking a pint. There we go.
Yes.
It's a record corner in Godalming. It's a great shop.
Sorry, give me that again.
Record corner in Godalming. Just shouting out a local retailer for you. There we go.
Yeah. Good one. Well, that's a very good choice. So a record collection in a real record store. That's a lovely pick to end on. So thanks for just spending a few minutes with us here on the Checkout Scout Tent. Thanks very much, David Williams.
That's fine. Thank you for having me.